Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Trello Trailblazers Meets. This is a new series that we are doing as part of the Atlassian community events, the Trello Trailblazers, which is your one-stop shop for all things Trello. And we're doing a new series. Mike actually came up with this idea, and it's called Trello Trailblazers Meets. And we're going to do different events where you can meet different people who are in the Trello ecosystem. So we ideally want to do some stuff with where we're going to do some like meet and greets with the Trello product team. We're probably going to do some stuff with power ups. But we really wanted to kick this off with some of these hidden heroes that we have seen, the Trello consulting heroes. And we're going to chat about this all for an hour. I look forward to hearing everybody's experiences. But I started doing Trello consulting several years ago, and I'll never forget so many, like, whenever I mention it to people, they're like, there's people who pay you to show how Trello works. And I was like, yes. And there's even more people that I have to turn away because I can't say yes to everybody. Because so many people do want that because it's such a great tool. It's just the way I like to describe it. Sometimes it's kind of like a box of Legos, right? Like you can do a lot with it, but if nobody's showing you like that pamphlet of like which bricks to put together in which way, then you don't know how to get what you need. So that's where folks like us come in. So yeah, Mike, I don't know if you want to say anything else. So since this was kind of the series was your idea here.
Yeah, and I really wanted to kick it off with consultants because Trello's a bit of an odd one. Like if you use any other tool, there's normally like a partner portal or a directory which has got consultants. But Trello doesn't really have that. And one of the things that I hear from people that I do consulting for is, "Oh, you're really hard to find," or I'm surprised that people like you are around because I struggle to find it." So I wanted this event to be something that shows that there are people out there that are doing this. And for Trello, it's definitely something that's in demand because we're getting a fair amount of inquiries. So the people wanting to find other people to help them make their Trello workspaces better and their Trello boards better. So I wanted to say that there are people, and the people will range from being quite business orientated and process oriented to sort of more productivity ideas to all the way to sort of like really technical people in the consulting world. So there's a real sort of wide ranging number of consultants around.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because Trello doesn't specifically offer consulting services. I think maybe Atlassian proper with like some enterprise stuff does some things, but for the most part they rely on partners. And of course they're a dime a dozen with Jira and Confluence, but there's not really like an arm of, Atlassian focus like who are the Trello consultants. And so yeah, I know that support engineering, I've chatted with some folks over there who are very keen to make sure people know about us because a lot of people come to Trello support expecting things that you would typically go to for a consultant. So I think there's a lot of synergy and a lot of good reasons why Atlassian wants more people to know there are people that can help you use Trello. People who obviously want to use Trello need to know about those people, and we obviously enjoy doing this, and it's a nice way to make a livelihood. So I think I don't know if anybody here is doing it full time or if we're all doing it on the side. Maybe that'd be a fun thing for everybody to mention in their intros. But yeah, so the format, what we're going to go through, this is a pretty chill next little hour. If you're joining us, go ahead and just grab your coffee and sit and sip with us. This is pretty informal. You're sitting in on our own Zoom meeting here. I'm just going to kind of leave all of us up here, but at different points we're going to introduce ourselves, say a little bit about what we do. Please feel free to post in the chat if you have any questions, because after we introduce ourselves, we're going to take questions from the audience. So happy to chat through anything. Hey, Aaron. From Indy, very cool. Indianapolis. So yeah, feel free to post and say where you're watching from. We are all of us literally all over the world right now, so there's a good chance someone's not too far from you. So I might be the closest to you, Aaron. I'm in Baton Rouge, so which is still not very close, but in the grand spectrum, like I think we're both in Central Time Zone, so that might be as close as we get here. But yeah, so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. I'll go ahead and introduce myself real quick and give a quick spiel, just so everybody kind of set the stage here. But my name, if you don't know me, I'm Brittany Joyner, and I am obsessed with Trello. I started using it. I I don't know. I think when we found the date, it was back in 2011. I recently found like my first board, so it was like 13 years ago. Um, and so yeah, I found it when I was working at a marketing agency. They were using it to organize their clients, and I was like, that's really cool. And then just kind of tucked that in my back pocket. And then I started using it. I remember when I graduated from university, and I was like, all right, I'm doing side projects. Oh yeah, good call, Mike. Mike reminded me, post a link to the Trello board here. Posting a link in the chat here. This is the Trello board. If you want to follow along, we always have a Trello board with agenda and points here. So posting that in there. But yeah, so after I graduated from university, I was trying to keep track of side projects and my full-time jobs, and I wanted to get into running and doing different things. And I was like, okay, I need something to keep myself all together. And this is a really funny story. I don't say this all the time, but when people ask me, why did you choose Trello? It feels really silly because honestly, at the time, I was looking at Trello in Asana, and I chose Trello because labels were free in Trello and they weren't in Asana. I since have 10,000 reasons why Trello was better, but the reason we're all here today is literally because labels were free in Trello and they weren't in Asana. And so I like to think even if I had chosen Asana at the point, I would have found my way back to Trello. But that's how we ended up here today. So and so yeah, so I do some consulting. I've backed up a little bit on the consulting, and in the last couple of years, and started doing more content creation. So you'll find my YouTube channel, which is probably where most of you are watching this. And I also have a weekly newsletter all about Trello where I share tips and tricks, and it comes out every Thursday morning. So yeah, I'll post a link to that if you want to make sure to subscribe to that. I also wrote a book about Trello. So this happened about 2 years ago, I guess. I had a publisher approach me, and I was like, sure, why not? That's a good way to kind of scale my knowledge. And so I literally took all of the different things that I come up a lot about Trello. And at first I was like, I don't know that I have enough to say to, like, I've got to write 30 pages for this chapter. What do I say? And really the problem ended up being, okay, I only have 30 pages. So how do I take this 50-page draft and now convert it, down to 30 pages? Um, so yeah, so I am properly obsessed with Trello. I do all sorts of things with it. I use it to keep myself organized for my projects at work, but I also use it to plan trips. I use it to keep track of what things I have in my camper so I don't buy 3 things of paprika. I use it to keep track of things with my foster cats that I'm fostering and helping keep track of their weights. I use it to even plan things for my budget. I use it for tracking chores in my house and meal planning. Obviously, like, I use it for bigger things like moves and, big events and things like that. But it's just super, super useful here. So I'm going to take a quick second here and check the chat because I see everybody's coming in here now. So we've got all sorts of friends here. So first of all, Katie says, as a Trello consultant in the research administration space, I'm interested to see how differently we all use the system. Yeah, that's something I wanted to show, is that I think there's going to be a lot of commonalities between us all, but I also think there's going to be a lot of differences and different things that we prefer and we like to use. So I totally agree. I'm super excited to see that too. Liz says Trello is a good intro to Atlassian because it's an easy app. And y'all are so excellent facilitators. So this all makes sense. Atlassian was itching for this group as a Trello, but not consultants. Yes. I love this. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I totally agree. Trello is the gateway Atlassian. Maybe that's a new marketing campaign, Mike. Maybe we'll have to pitch that to them. And yeah, we've got folks from Venezuela. We've got Central Texas. Okay, Gretchen, we are probably actually maybe most closest to each other because I'm in Louisiana. So Trello is my favorite tool, and I look forward to learning how to make better use of it for project management. I think that's probably the most common use case, right? We obviously found our coffee out of Los Angeles already with that long statement. Yes, get that coffee, get it running through the veins. We've got Andy here. Yes, labels for president 2028. Yes. Oh my gosh, I would vote for Trello labels for sure. Let's see. Andy's also saying jumping around today. Yeah, thanks for jumping in, Andy. Feel free to bounce around as you need to. But yeah, And Rodney says, "Can I claim to be from the void?" Yes, absolutely, Rodney. You are from the void. So yeah, keep it coming, keep it coming. And yeah, with that, I'll pass over to, let's see who's next to me. I'll pass over to Tony. Tony, you wanna take it away?
Sure. Well, hello everyone. My name is Tony. I'm from Spain. I actually started with Trello using it like maybe I think it was like more than 10 years ago. It was from the very beginning of Trello. I saw how it was improving and adding new features year by year. So at that time, I was using Trello in a company I ran in energy system. It was like my first job, and when I saw they were working with Trello, for me, it was like taking a look at the future. Right? It was not that common, and it was not like popular at that moment. The way of working with lists, like in a Kanban method, and for my mindset, my engineer mindset, it's really hard to work with a different system right now. I started to make IT consultancy services like 6-7 years ago, more or less. And I realized that once I started with local companies that were like close to my area where we are located, I realized that they were using Trello for marketing and for managing projects and different staff. And they also wanted to add this relationship with the contacts in terms of suppliers or when they were making the support or contacting clients or investors and adding this kind of level into Trello. So I think I made like a tailored solution for 12 companies, more or less. And then I decided to, in 2020, I decided to release my first Power App, which is Crumble. And Crumble, what it's mainly doing is turning Trello itself into easy to use CRM. Okay, so I love the Atlassian ecosystem so far. I'm really comfortable, and we have a lot of expertise into developing in Trello and making consultancy in Trello as well. And I saw here some people asking, telling that Trello is like the door to more Atlassian products. And I totally agree. We are also we have released also Crumble for Jira because some users, when the expertise they are getting with Trello, and when they are more used to use this platform, they need more sophisticated stuff as soon as they are getting bigger, and they need to jump to a more maybe sophisticated platform. So I totally agree. I think Trello is like the door to using more Atlassian products. We are mainly doing we call it Crumble consultancy and tailored solutions. We start receiving, I think it was 2 years ago, teams that after install Crumble, they were asking for some consultancy services to adapt the CRM to their particular necessities and the needs they have with the business, and also connecting this Trello and Crumble itself with third-party apps. So what we are doing is providing these services to set up Crumble, set up the Trello board, and also connect these two tools with the ERP they have, or other CRMs they have, or another mail marketing platforms they are using, or things like that. So I would say that we are pretty focused on giving consultancy when it's related with managing the relationship with contacts. And I think that's it. That's all from my end, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I was posting in the chat, like, Tony, I'll never forget. I remember when you DM'd me on Instagram and you were like, "Hey, I saw you wrote this blog post about like building a CRM in Trello." we're actually making a power up that will do those. And I remember seeing it and I was like, this would have made that post so much easier, because I would have just said, go use Crumble. Like, you don't have to, build out these sort of pieces and stuff. And it's just been so cool watching you all since 2020, like how far I posted in the chat, and I was like, I remember we were working on the launch, and I like had these goals of like, let's get these users, and like just crushed through these. Like, it was so cool to see the response of how many people have found it useful, and just to see where you all are now, and doing all sorts of amazing stuff there. So yeah,
it was.
I love that.
I remember that as well. Yeah, it's
yeah.
It happened. I remember that I wrote you through LinkedIn the first time, or I think
maybe it was LinkedIn. I feel like I remember it being Instagram or something.
No, you are right. It was Instagram or maybe LinkedIn before. I don't remember, but yeah. But you weren't like in Barcelona at that time. You were in Spain.
Yes, I was.
Yeah,
I was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. That's so funny. It's so true. Yeah. I was. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well,
Tony, I've got a question for you.
Oh, yeah.
So, not as a Power Up developer, but as a consultant, what is the one thing you wish Trello had that it doesn't have today?
That's actually a good one, Mike. Thank you so much for the question, because when we are making a consultancy service, normally there is like a small or medium business that is looking for some particular stuff. So one of the things they normally are asking for is the fact of being able to see the power apps into the mobile version, because it's not only for Crumble, we are one between 100 of power apps, but I think the power up market, it's making Trello much more powerful than it will be alone by itself. And I think some users expect, apart from using the power apps in the Trello desktop version, which is quite cool and is already live, also have the possibility, they are on the road or they want to use something with the iPad or any tablet version or mobile, also have the possibility to see the information they have in their power apps.
Yeah, that's definitely something that comes up in the community when people ask questions.
Oh,
I think I'm losing you, Mike.
Yeah, we're losing Mike a little bit. That it's that remote connection
they're
there
asking
in the middle of the
generally
night.
Why can I not see that near?
Oh, I think you're back.
Wow, that was so fast now.
Yeah, it like caught up with all of that, but yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely one that comes up quite frequently, the whole mobile app support.
100%. Yeah, that stole my answer, Tony, because like if we were all going to ask about that, I totally think that like Trello, like power ups can do more in the mobile app. But yeah. Okay, yeah. So now let's pass over to Rasmus. Rasmus, you're next up on the screen here. Yeah, tell us about what you do.
Yeah, my name is Rasmus, and I'm a developer and a technical business coach. And I'm kind of the youngster in this group, not by age, but by Trello experience, because I've actually only been using it for 1.5 years. I used to use the Microsoft products, so I've been in the business for roughly 20 years in software and productivity space. And I was given Trello when I joined a small startup that I started helping. And that was, to be honest, I quite hated it in the beginning because it didn't have any reporting. It didn't have anything. So as a developer, you end up just building it yourself. So I have been exploring the API and building tools on top of the API ever since. And everything is open source and free out there. So I have a framework for anyone who wants to build in .NET against Trello, an open source tool that can do that. So I built countless reports for this startup I work in. And by doing that, I found out that one thing that is very difficult in Trello is to get to the technical IDs of Trello. You have the GUI, of course, but all the IDs. So when you have pain, you fix it, and so I built a small power up that is called ID Helper. So you can actually get all the IDs of a Trello board very easy by just copy paste. So there I learned that part of the tool, and then I joined the community and tried to help with questions like the rest of you. But I saw a lot of people were struggling with basic things in my book, because as a developer you can do kind of everything, automations, reporting, and so on. So I started up a small website called Trello Tools, based on the questions that people had. And so if someone was asking, oh, I can't see exactly what happened on this card, then I built a card history tool, so you can see every single little thing that have happened, also the things that are not in the regular activity list in Trello, and so on. So it just grew: batch tools, archive tools, export tools, multi-board viewing, and such things. And it's all on a website that you can just use for free. Lately, though, I've been trying to go even further in that I'm trying to build an AI on top of Trello. So I actually have a taco bot, as it's called right now, that you can ask questions about your Trello boards. How many cards do you have? How many are overdue, and such things. But you can also interact with the board, like saying, or move all my cards that are overdue to the to-do column, or something like that. So you can work with your Trello board just by speaking with an AI tool, and I can show that at some point if people are interested. But that's what I have.
That's pretty cool. I'd definitely be keen to see a demo of that in a bit. I think this is what AI needs to be doing, right? Like, I don't need it to make pictures of, although sometimes that is fun too, making pictures of this or that. I need it to like process information on my Trello boards, tell me what I need to know and do about it. And yeah, maybe we can also mention, if anybody else doesn't know, I know Trello is working on some AI features, but not necessarily at the speed of Rasmus. So definitely, like, we should maybe have some. Yes, already voting for a show and tell from Rasmus for Taco Bot. Yes, I love it. Oh yeah, Carolyn French says Taco Bot. Yeah, Rasmus, I think you're gonna have to show us that. So I'm gonna cue that up for
Fair
as soon
enough.
as as soon as we get through the intros. That's first up on the agenda. Show us Taco Bot. Yeah, one thing I was gonna ask you, Rasmus, is I what did you mentioned you didn't you didn't really like Trello at the beginning, but it sounds like what really changed for you was seeing how under the hood, how flexible things were, so that you could kind of make it to be your own sort of experience. And so how have you found, if you didn't like what Trello looked like at the beginning, how have you found working with the API and like the features of the information you want to get from Trello? Like, is there anything that you feel like, oh, I've not been able to access this with the API and I wish I could? Or do you feel like, because I've worked with the Trello API, but I haven't worked with like Asana or other tools either, so I have no idea how it compares in those. But I feel like for the most part, I can get what I need from the Trello API, but you're doing some way more advanced stuff than I've ever done.
Yeah, the API is actually quite great. It's very simple to use. That's probably its biggest power. Not having user fields in the free edition is one of the great pains of being one of these, because it is so flexible, and at the same time you can't really say when is a card done. Some people, it's when it's archived, something when it's in a specific column. Why don't we have a field for that, for example? And yes, then you get the user fields, but then you plaster them all over. You can't hide any technical user fields. That is one of my main wishes for Trello, that we can actually make a lot of fields, but don't show them to the user, so we can have all this extra data. But
Right.
as soon as you have the
Not clutter up
API
front,
and
yeah.
the technology, you can do a lot. And at the same time, I'm also not using the automation in Trello because they are so limited compared to what you can do with the webhooks.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, we can talk more about that. I think if you're not a proper developer, the automations is
I understand.
very, very powerful. But yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely can understand that. And I don't know how much we're allowed to say, but suffice to say, I think there are some changes coming with the whole concept of what you mentioned of a card being done. So yeah, I'll just tease and leave that there. But yeah, let's move on to our next consultant. We've got Kelly up here next in the queue here. So Kelly, tell us. Kelly's my newest Trello friend from Reddit, and so I love the internet like bringing us together here.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm based in Idaho, so I think I'm the furthest west of the group at the moment. So I'm on my first cup of coffee and just raring to go. Love talking about Trello. I've been using Trello for a very long time. I think you and I were talking, like I was back in the Trello Gold days. So anyone who knows Trello Gold, like you're my people. But basically I started out using it very lightly. I had no functionality beyond creating lists and cards. I didn't really think to use it in that way. It just never dawned on me. But then at a corporate company that I was at that had just not provided us any tools to track our work. I mean, they just didn't give us anything. And so I just thought, you know what? I'm going to personally use Trello because I think I can figure something out. And it got to the point where I would have a crowd of colleagues around my desk saying, what is that? And how can I get that? Because I need the same thing. So I basically started, just like any business I've ever owned, it happened on accident. Just because I was doing something that I needed and that I loved, and people saw it and said, I need that. And so I've been very much unofficially Trello consulting for, I would say, over a decade, easily. I just started kind of formalizing it a little more recently. So just been doing that as I've been doing it in my business. I own the Tech Savvy Academy. I help small business owners with their efficiency, creating their business processes. One of the things that I kind of believe the most, and I think Trello lies into this so well, is that I believe that anyone can learn anything if they're willing to put in the work. And I think Trello makes that so completely true because Trello is so user-friendly. It's so, even if you're jumping in the way I did early on and not understanding the power behind what was really there, it's still so powerful and it's still so fun and easy to use. And just having your to-do list in your hand and with you everywhere that you go, that alone can be life-changing. And then when you understand all that can be done with it, I mean, now I'm at a point where honestly, I might have a problem. I might have a Trello problem. I have so many workspaces, so many boards. There's so much going on. And any time something comes up where, I'm trying to figure out, I need to do something, my first thought is, can Trello do that? I think it can. So even within my my business, I own, like I said, the Tech Savvy Academy. It's basically a subscription service to online courses teaching all kinds of different tools for business, Trello, Canva, many others, and just teaching all that process. And I wanted to have a space that people could use to get support from me, that they could connect with me directly. And I have now built a Trello board for that. So when people come into the academy, they join the board and they now can create little support tickets with me and everybody can see and learn from each other's questions. I mean, even as simple as something like that, being able to build it into Trello and have, something that's that simple, but then I'm also kind of gateway drugging them into Trello because so much of what I teach in the academy requires a tool like Trello. And in my opinion, Trello is the option. So that's kind of been the way I've been kind of moving things recently. And then because of Reddit, I mean, honestly, again, this was accidental, but I went to Reddit selfishly because I did start a YouTube channel. I was doing a lot of content. I am doing a lot of content about Trello and some other tools. And I was starting to think, I can create content on things that I want to talk about, but what do other people want to know? So I went to Reddit to look for, what are people asking? What can I, create a little video and show? And through that, my more formalized, I guess I would call it, the official Trello consulting just happened yet again on accident. So it's exciting to see that sort of thing just get, other people getting so excited about the same types of things. And I do have to take a minute and fangirl over Tony a little bit, because Crumble is awesome. And when I saw that you were going to be on this call, I was like, okay, that's amazing, because Crumble is one of those things that takes all of the, I guess, arguments or excuses that you hear from people saying, well, I can't use Trello because I already have XYZ, and, I don't want to have too many tools. Trello can do anything if you know where to look. I have yet to find something that it can't do if you're willing to find, power-ups or Chrome extensions or whatever it might be. And yes, they're limited, as we've already talked about, on the mobile side. And that is something I would certainly echo as far as things that I wish, Trello could do. But I mean, I have yet to find something that I can't find a solution for through Trello in some way. So I guess that would be why I'm so obsessed about it. And it's one of the two things that I'm known for. Trello is one of them, and this color is the other. And anybody in my world who knows me will think of me when they think of one or the other. That's how far it goes for me. So yeah, I guess that's that's me.
I absolutely love that. I there were so many great quotes from everything you said. But yeah, also being known for a color. I too love that color. It's really funny you say that, because I have a similar sort of like tealy color that's maybe a little bit more blue than like that color that like it just like I feel connected with that color. I don't know how to explain it, but I assume you understand what that's like. So that's hilarious that you've got a color and a tool. You're all set.
Yep.
And I love what you said about, coming up with a Trello board for everything. I do the exact same things. Like I will make a Trello board, even if I can acknowledge like maybe a spreadsheet would be better, or maybe honestly, I just need a simple note on my phone. I don't need a Trello board, but I still end up making a Trello board for it. It's just, I think Rodney's in the chat. I know, like, he'll do that with, I think people in general will do that with Jira or like whatever their tool of choice is. Like if you like spreadsheets, you're going to make a spreadsheet for everything. So I think that's totally fine, but I agree. I too have a Trello problem, and I like to make a board out of, literally everything. That's my first thought as soon as I'm getting somebody, like I'm doing something, whether it's a project or like the problem, Kelly, I wonder if you have this too. The problem is when it's like with other people and it's like, well, it's a benefit if they're already using Trello, but like if they're not, you can just feel the eye roll of like, does this have to be a Trello board? Like, do I need to go do my once a year log into Trello to satisfy Brittany for this Trello board? Like, whether it's like planning like meals for a trip or something, and it's like I'm thinking of like one of my friends that whenever we go on a camping trip together, I'm like, all right, let's do meal planning in a Trello board. And he's like, all right, like, always.
A little bit, but I would have to say I've converted most of my inner circle to the point where just recently I co-hosted a retreat, a little business retreat up in the mountains, and I didn't even create the Trello board. The other person did.
That's next level. I will say.
I know.
That is like my partner's done that a few times, and every time she's like, I made a Trello board. I'm like, you did it. Like I didn't even. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds silly,
but
it's like how these are your people, right?
Yes.
I mean, there are, and especially as a business owner, and like, that I focus on working with women primarily. I work with solopreneurs or very, very small companies, people who want to do everything themselves and not have to have a huge team and all of that. Because, for some of us, that's our dream, is to not have to manage a huge team. And for me, I mean, that's a pretty wide niche. I kind of hone it down a little bit by people who are open to or already using Trello, because then I know that they're going to think similarly to how I do. I'm going to be able to help them best, so that it's almost a niching down for me, which sounds silly, but it's true. I mean, so my entire business framework personally is built on Trello, and if it went down, I would be seriously in trouble. And and that's not something that I say lightly, because I'm not a fan of putting all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
But I feel like I don't know another way to do all of the things. So it's what I've been doing and what I'm teaching other people to do. So Trello can't go down ever. Just 100% uptime, please.
Yes. Mike and I have this discussion pretty regularly too, because like, I agree. I always get a little nervous about all eggs in one basket kind of things too. And like, if we ever had to leave Trello, like there's other tools out there, sure, but like nothing does the things that we would want in the same sort of ways. And like, it would be really tough. So I
think
completely
Kelly, where you're saying like people who don't want to manage big teams, or they don't want to work for a large organization and have enterprise tools. Like, for me, that's the reason why I keep going back to Trello. It's from what I do as a consultant, like it's the perfect tool. And using everything else, there's too much. There's too many features. There's too much functionality. Trello is the perfect fit for, I think, for freelancers and solo entrepreneurs and people who don't have those desires to kind of make things more complicated than they need to be.
Exactly. Trello is what you need it to be. It can be super big and powerful, or it can be super simple. And that's what I love about it.
100%. That is the beauty, is Lego bricks. Make a Ferrari, or make a Hogwarts castle, or make a Death Star, whatever you need to do.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mike, you're up next. You and I didn't really talk about this, but like, since we do Trello consulting, we also should give our spiel here. So definitely.
I was going to ask you that question. Are we kind of pushing ourselves?
Yes, we are giving spiels too. So please, your turn.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how many other people are, but I am doing this 100% of the time. So Trello consulting is what I do, but it's kind of extending to general automation. I focus on using Make as a automation tool and connector for Trello to other things. So I do consult predominantly with Trello, but also doing this Make automation for connecting. I was another early user of Trello, I think in 2014, and I stumbled across it because people were using it as a front end for the ugliness of what was our tracking tools back in 2012 to 14, which were horrible. If you look at Jira at that point, from a UI perspective, it's horrible, and all the competitors were the same. So a development team I was working with were using Trello as the pretty side of that, and they were using that as their front end, and that was my introduction to it. But where I really found its power was I joined a company where the remit was that they wanted all these things. They wanted CRM and sales processing. They wanted some sort of manufacturing or supply chain management tool. They wanted project management tool, and they told me there was a budget of 0. And so Trello came along because it was free, and this was the time of Trello Gold as well, so you can get those extra features. And then it was at the same time when automation came along with Trello. It was actually a power up at the time, Butler automation, and that meant I was able to turn Trello into all of those things, fully automated, and no other tool at that time was able to do that. Certainly no other tool was able to do that for free. And then I started to realize how powerful Trello can be. It looks so simple, but it's actually so powerful. So I started a consulting company, and I intended it to be more of like a project management coach and business transformation company, but it ended up becoming full-time Trello consulting because I was finding that there was a need for that, and people were coming to me asking, but they generally kind of got Trello and they wanted to know how to use it better, or they kind of gone down a rabbit hole with Trello and they wanted someone to advise them how to undo that. Typical things were like you'd get a board and it would have 50, 60 power-ups enabled, hundreds of labels on it and lists everywhere, and they'd want to bring organization to that chaos. So that's what I started doing. And since then, it's kind of grown and grown and grown. And now I'm kind of doing consulting, but also working with Brit to provide lots of content in the Trello community and pushing the limits of Trello as well. So I think Brit and I have both reached the limits of Trello's automation, and now I do a lot with the Trello API as well to kind of take things. It's little simple things that bother me about Trello that I kind of can overcome by using the Trello API. And I can create really cool things, like a few little things that I've created recently about like snap a photo on your phone and it automatically turns into the background on Trello. And so I like doing little things like that kind of take it to the next level. And yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been doing with Trello, and I love it as a tool. It fits me perfectly. It's simple, it's flexible, it can be adapted at any time. That's why I use it. I've tried alternative tools, and I always end up coming back to Trello. I look at these tools because of the whole putting all your eggs in the Trello basket, but I always come back to Trello because it is the perfect fit. And I also would be devastated if it didn't exist, because none of the other tools can do what it does as well as it does.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. We would all be devastated, you know, if Trello goes away. There'll be a live stream of mourning for sure. And yeah, figuring.
Good news is we don't think that's happening at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. To be clear, we have no indication that's going to happen. Yeah, we definitely
quite the opposite, really. We're seeing actually the traction is really growing this year, and that they're bringing a few new features and it's going from strength to strength. So we just we need to be, as consultants, to kind of really push that message and keep that ecosystem for Trello healthy.
Yeah, and absolutely, and kind of like you were saying too, Mike, about Make and various tools. Yes, I do a lot in Trello, but I also think Trello is really powerful too when you can connect it to other systems, and that doesn't necessarily mean other tools, but even if it's as simple as making automations to quickly get things into your Trello boards, or like if you're reading an article and want to quickly get it into Trello, or if you need to go like post a message or send an email, or whatever you're trying to do, like it's not just about automating inside of Trello, but helping people to finding people and information, connecting it in the way that it makes sense, rather than just I always talk about, like, with Trello, it doesn't make sense to go play organize yourself, right? Like, you can use any productivity tool, and like as much fun as it can be to design a board and get it all, fancy, like it's about doing the work, right? It's about being able to quickly see what I need to do and taking action on it, not like playing business and just, dragging things around for the fun of it. And so Trello, whether it's, using automation inside of Trello or even with other tools like Make and stuff like that, being able to quickly say, here's what's on deck for me, and not having to spend too much time thinking about that is going to give you all the energy you need to actually do the thing. And yeah, that's probably my favorite piece of automation in general. Liz has a request for making a Trello team roster of app builders and seeing the stuff we've made. I literally am, speaking of making a board, literally just made a board, and I'm going to add folks to it. And yeah, we should have a list of like, I build things for Trello, and like, here's power-ups, here's Chrome extensions, here's whatever. Like Rasmus, I think you're going to be a pretty heavy contributor here too, so be cool, and we can all like try out each other's tools, so be on the lookout for that. I'll go ahead and make this board public, and you can save the link to it, and then as we get things on it, it'll be a little bit more exciting. But yeah, and let's see. Oh yeah, Liz also says, would love to know who is specialized in what app genre and Trello board format. Do you mean, Liz, like in terms of like app genre? Do you mean like basically like what tools you're connecting with that, or like for Trello board format? Yeah, can you tell me a little more about what you mean by that? And I will happily structure that board with those details. But yeah, I love that. So now I like that we were like, this may go 30 minutes, may go 45. And of course, we're not even all the way through, and we've got 15 more minutes to go. So, we knew we'd have no problem talking about Trello for an hour. I'm going to pass over now to Alicia. Alicia is another one of my a long time Atlassian friends. We met in the Atlassian community, and we are together Trello freaks. We are obsessed with Trello, and she was one of the first other people that I saw that I was like, oh wait, I'm not the only one who feels this way. So yeah, Alicia, tell us all the things.
Hi everyone. We miss you so much in Barcelona.
I know, I was so sad I couldn't be there.
Oh, fantastic. We have enjoyed a lot with Mike. Well, my name is Alicia, and I am a Trello leader in Alicante, Spain, from I think 3 years ago. I start as freelance 6 years ago under my personal brand Organízate conmigo, organize with me, helping little teams to organize their to-do things with Google and Trello. I work with Google and Trello from inside the teams. From this year, I work, I'm not alone anymore. I work with a team called Genion. And one of my principal charts continue being a Trello consultant, helping little teams, startups, and entrepreneurs. I always have problems with this word, emprendedores. Tony, you can help people who start to their enterprises. I hope you understand me there.
Yeah, business owners, business creators. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like founders.
Founders. Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Founders? Okay, it's easier than the other. Okay, I have it.
Founders.
And the process we always do is I call ama Trello. Ama is love Trello in English, but the process is first analysis, then mentoring or assembly, and accompany. Because the first part, I think, is the most important part, is to listen and understanding the customer needs. Sometimes people use Trello, but paralyzed because they don't have a good structure, a good workflow. They don't know exactly their teams and how they works. So I think an important part of a consultant is to understand and help teams to make their workflow. So with a draw, with a writing, and then this part you can show them in a Trello board, and then realize that is useful for them. So I think that this is the more important part of a Trello consultant, because you can show how to use Trello, you can show how to make, how to put labels, or how to make automatations, but you need the part to know their own team, to know how your team works, so you can show it in a board. So the best part, the first part, I think, is always to know who is going to use the Trello board. For what are you going to use the Trello board? And then we'll improve with power apps or labels or automations. But this is the second part. People sometimes want to put a lot of power apps, a lot of automation, but I think it's the paciencia, the patience of the people is finished, because they want to make all the things now. And sometimes a process to install boards of power apps, I think, is for months, because sometimes you create a structure and try, and then you think you have to change, you have to make change in the structure. So this is the part consultant, I think, is important to help people how to use along the months to be productive, really.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I was gonna say I completely agree with that, Alicia. Like, I think that's definitely what I see people finding too, is that they want to work with me because it's not just about show me where to click labels or where to hit that. It's like, it's more about understanding here's where our current workflow is and what it looks like. How do we reflect that to make that make sense in Trello? And one of the most common things, this is the hill I will die upon, is don't if you come to me with a broken workflow and your team is not working, Trello's not going to save it. I can try to help you figure out what's not working about your workflow and we can figure that out, but Trello is a separate issue from that. People, if anyone ever comes to me is like, I need Trello to fix my team's workflow, it's not going to fix it. It's going to amplify or make more efficient what is ever happening there. But if that's bad, then that just means it's going to make it more efficient or more visual, which honestly sometimes can be more helpful to make it more visual and see where it's falling apart so you know what to fix. But Trello doesn't fix that. There's no tool out there that's going to fix a bad workflow. And so that's kind of one of the things that I really try to lean into a lot more with consulting these days than when I first started, is understanding, okay, it's not just about, go click this button, set up boards like this. It's like, let's see where this workflow is and what makes sense about that. And like, oh, like this part is what's happening and maybe doesn't make sense, but let's fix that. And then we fit it into Trello, more so than just, amplifying a bad process. So and I love what you said too about like understanding those needs of the customers, because that's exactly what makes a difference. That's why people like to work with us, and they don't want to just Google something, because it's about translating it into translating it into Trello.
Yes, and I always say that it doesn't matter the tool you use. So the important is you use the tool you choose.
Yes.
Because you can use a lot of tools, but if you don't have clear the structure and how your team works, people say Trello is not useful. I think it's not the best tool. Okay, you can use another, but until you don't have clear your workflow or your how your team works, I think it's the same with any other tool. I think.
Right.
The thing about tools is they're easy to change and easy to blame. So it's always going to be the path of least resistance with companies.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. They're the people using it, right? It's what you're doing with it, not so much an infinite thing. And again, coming back to one of the things I do like about Trello is once you know what those workflows are in those systems, you can automate a lot of it so that you're not having to, force people to go in and make an update about this because, maybe they're already doing it at one place, and you can make that reflect in Trello, or, you're not having to go get a report of cards that meet this criteria. You can automatically send yourself an email that says these cards have, done this. And so it'll automate a lot of those things. But if you're not going to use the tool at all, then Trello can't do the work for you quite yet. I haven't figured out that part. Like I still have to make my own coffee in the mornings. I still have to, we'll get there eventually. Maybe TacoBot can make me coffee, but we'll have to see that in a second. But I want to make sure we have time for TacoBot, but we've also got one more amazing consultant here with us. We've got Render from Placker. Render, the floor is yours. Tell us about you and all you do, and tell us about Placker too.
Hi, yes, I'm Reiner. I'm the founder of Placker. I started with Trello 10 years ago. That's when I founded Placker as well. And before Placker, I was working as a consultant, mainly in big programs, projects, and portfolio management kind of roles. And my obsession is basically always around what is making a team and a person productive, because planning work and agreeing on how to do something seems very simple. You would like to do something, you agree that you do it at a certain time, someone is doing it. But for some reason, this is turning very complex a lot of times. So it's not done, or it's not clear, or and my conviction is that it's not bad intent, but it has to do with does someone has the right insight to understand how work is planned, so they can proactively communicate something is solved with others. It's about simply having too many things on your plate. So I started to think about the tools that could solve it. Trello came up, And I also started to create some, let's say, basic project management tools at that point of time on top of Trello. So we, at this moment, have 8 power-ups in Trello. And we offer these power-ups as a subscription, and we are also consulting with teams to help them set up the way of working with Trello. So our customers mainly are teams that, or also individual people that have a lot of boards. So maybe 10, 20 boards that you would like to manage. You would like to understand, okay, what are the 10 cards that are important for me to work on? It has to do around automating cards. So we have card mirroring to send cards automatically across boards. To create the reports that you need to understand what are the cards that are overdue, or if you have client boards that you can clearly communicate how what the status is of work to your client. So the consultants that we do is around how to use Trello and Plecker and set it up to work for you. But a lot of it is also about what is your way of working. A bit like what Alicia was saying. How do you work together? How do you communicate? I always try to teach them less is more. So if you look at how to communicate status or what to update on a card, most of the times when you add a comment to the card, it's a lot better than updating 4 or 5 custom fields with detailed information because someone thought it was a good idea. So I think the key is that you do something and you document it and other people can read it and they know where it is. You should try to define some ground rules that everyone can commit to and that are very clear to understand. So you all work at the same way. You understand how boards are structured. In order to have a lot more efficient way of working, and basically giving every person in the team the insight they need to do the work that they would like to do. That's basically, I think, one of the key things I try to teach in the consulting part.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that makes sense too. Like, and the simplicity, I think Mike said something similar before about like Trello's like greatest strength is it's simple but powerful. But I feel like people do this probably in Jira as well, where they get the idea like, oh, I can add all these things, so I should. And it can be the same whether it's custom fields, whether it's power ups, whether it's automation. Like that's definitely what I like to encourage people is when you're first starting out, figure out kind of back to the workflow piece, like just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Figure out what you're doing and then figure out how to make that more efficient. Like start with the problem. Don't just start trying to solve something that you don't even know is a problem yet. And that's when I usually find, I'll go work with someone and they've got 20 different power-ups on their board. They're not using any of it. It's all cluttered. And, they're like, I don't know if I want this. I have this as custom fields and as labels. And it's like, okay, like, is anyone looking at this and actually getting anything out of it? And the answer is no. And it's like shocking. So yeah, I totally agree with the less is more approach. I think that makes a world of difference. And like you said, it's about layering the right sort of things on top of it that make it clear for communication.
Yeah, and I think what is nice about Trello is that there are so many different kinds of people and teams that simply started with Trello. So a lot of what we do is it's not only to explain what are the choices of the Trello board, but it's often also a bit of the basics in how do you collaborate in an efficient way? How do you run a team meeting? Because people are trying to figure those things out. I think if you look
Absolutely.
at Trello compared to Jira is a lot more IT focused. So there are often methodologies behind it. It's in a completely different settings. So I really like working with all those different kind of teams. So even also camping sites planning repairs to big enterprises planning portfolios and everything in between. But it's very nice to try and figure out how that works, and you learn a lot about these companies and people as well. That's nice.
Absolutely. Absolutely, for sure. Okay, we are coming near to the end of our hour. I don't know how this has gone by so fast, but Rasmus, the people have spoken. Can we, before we go, have a taco bot a demonstration?
Yeah, we can. If he wants to perform tricks in front of the crowd.
Yeah, right. Let's see how the demo gods are feeling today.
Yeah. He's still a puppy, so he doesn't get everything right, and sometimes he's a little slow.
Oh my gosh!
But we can try to say hello to him. And he wants us to help with Trello boards. And we have a board here that doesn't have too many things, so I prepared a few things for him. So I want him to create 10 cards with funny dog names.
Create 10 cards with funny dog names. I love that.
Now he's thinking.
He's thinking. Oh, I see it. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. That's so cool.
And let's see if he's good at math. So let's see how many cards he thinks there is. He thinks there's 11 cards. Yeah, there was one card before that. Then let's try to give him a little more advanced thing, where we want to say we want to move 3 random cards into the in progress list. We want him to assign them to me, and we want him to set the due date 3 days from now. He's not too good with this normally, but let's see how it goes.
Let's see. You know, maybe while everybody's watching, he's like, well, I got to be on best behavior.
Let's see if he can figure it out.
He says, he's like, you gave me a lot right there. I mean, let me think. I'm just a puppy. Oh, okay. All right.
Things.
It did move 3. Let's see.
He also
assigned you to them.
And let's see if we can set 3 days from now as well.
Oh, that's amazing. I love too in the chat. It basically like gives you a recap over there too. If you're like, you know, like this is easy to visualize, I guess, while there's not a bunch of cards. But if you have like hundreds of cards on here, it could be probably pretty good for him to say, hey, these are the 3 specifically I did, by the way.
Yeah. Then we can, second to last demo, we can try to put the red label onto all the to-do cards.
Ooh.
Oh, and now he's very mad because I've spent all my tokens.
He's like, wait a minute, you went right into my code here. Like,
let's give him a small breeder, give him a bit of food.
Yeah, give him a bit of food, give him a few pets. I don't know. Yeah, what else? What do you do to AI dogs, right? You kind of, you got to give them some pets. You got to give them a treat.
Yeah, let's see.
A pot is a bone in Dutch. There we go. Give him a bone.
If you can put on labels as well.
He says, I'm tired.
He's shy.
He's like, I've done so many tricks so far.
He can still do a little tricks.
This segment is getting turned into alerts on my phone. Yes, exactly. Just take my sounds, Andy, and this, you know. Oh, there we go. We got the label. Oh, see, now that's a good snippet, Andy.
Yeah.
Whenever you get a new email, oh, there we got the label.
And of course, the last trick we of course need to tell him is what is best Trello or Jira, and he of course knows that Trello is the best.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, I love this. This is so cool, Rasmus.
Yeah.
This is really neat. I'm a big fan of this. Wow, I don't think we could have picked a better note to end on. That was truly spectacular. So I think you have some. I put everything you sent me in the board. So I think there is. You're going to provide some early access to that at some point, right? You got to.
At some point. Right now, it's not available yet.
Right.
And despite me normally making everything for free, I think I need to charge a little for this.
I think you absolutely
because
should.
It's quite expensive behind the scenes.
I was going to say, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think people will be happy to pay for something like that. So yeah, definitely keep me in the loop, Rasmus, and I'm happy to help share and spread the word when that's ready too, because I think a lot of people would love something like that. So yeah, and no worries, fun man. I also have to leave. Some of us have to go back to our day jobs where we only get to talk about Trello for part of the day, not all the day. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. And thank you so much, consultants, for joining and sharing and telling us everything about yourselves. I'm going to post a link one more time to this Trello board. There are links to connect with all of these consultants. Anybody here that you want to connect with more, please do. I think we're all on LinkedIn, and also there's links to our websites and things in there, newsletters, YouTube channels. Please feel free to connect. And this, if you want to come back and watch anything, this link where you're watching at is always live. Like, this is on my YouTube channel. Come back any sort of time, and we would absolutely
and the links on the Trello board as well. So if you go to the Trello board,
exactly. Yeah, just save the Trello board. Yeah, exactly. The link is on there as well.
Find it any way you can.
Right. And if you're watching the recording, definitely drop comments, because I still see when someone posts a comment, and I'm happy to come in and answer. So if you're like, oh, I missed it, like, feel free to still ask a question, and we can come back and answer it. Any other closing thoughts or anything, Mike?
Just that the consulting world for Trello is something we really believe in. We want to be bigger and stronger. So we'll try and find ways of kind of making this information more accessible, more easy to find consultants in the future. So we'll try and find ways of doing that. But for now, on the Trello board, we'll add all the details. So if anyone wants to find out how they can get more out of Trello, then definitely use those contacts.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and you know how to reach us. And yeah, happy